Hey guys, Jinx here, and welcome back to one of my videos. And if you're new here, it's nice to have you. Today I'm going to be building my cousin his first custom mechanical keyboard. So a little backstory for you guys. My cousin just graduated high school and had some money to spend, so after watching my first video, he decided to reach out to me on Discord and asked me if I could build him a keyboard. It took a lot of research to find something in stock, affordable, something to match his vibe. But in the end, we built this. First things first, we're building this keyboard from the GK61 CNC aluminum rose red case. A low profile case that's very bright and will definitely stand out from any setup. It comes with a PCB with north facing LEDs, an aluminum plate, and some plate mount stabilizers. We chose this case to match this pink setup and to have a premium feel at that less premium price point. Moving on to switches, you might recognize these from my previous build. They're the ACO CS rose red switches. We decided to use these switches because the theme of the board is literally in the name of the switches, and because they are RGB friendly with a cutout at the side of the switch that will let the light shine through. And to top it off, I'm going to be putting on the Con Momo keycap set from Amazon. He originally wanted keycaps with a heart like this, but after searching through Google for a while, it turned out to be discontinued from both AliExpress and Amazon. So we ultimately decided to go with this keycap set because of the hiragana or katakana legends that look so nice and the rose red accents to match the set. Okay, let's assemble this board so we can hear how it sounds. It took me a bit of time to figure out how to properly assemble it, but eventually I got it. But when I finished, oh god, did it sound so bad. And trust me, it sounded worse in real life. Now unfortunately, I didn't have enough switches to go on the board, and I was pressed with time, so here's a stock sound test. It's kinda scuffed, but yeah. And here's a Z sound test for tubes. My initial thoughts on it is that it sounds really metallic and pretty hollow too. So let's try and fix that, shall we? After taking it apart, I planned out how to make this board sound better. So to get rid of that metallic sound, we need to put foam between the case and the PCB. I cut out some zip and fit liner to fit the board, and then I decided to put 2 layers on it because after messing around for a bit, I found out that this much was needed to dampen that metallic sound. Moving on to the stabilizers, the stock stabilizers weren't great, so we're gonna start off by taking all of them apart. And once we're done with that, we start off by clipping the tiny prongs taken out at the bottom of the stabilizer. After doing so, we can go ahead and lube the inner housing with a small amount of Krytox. While for the wires, we get a generous amount of Krytox and wipe it at all points of contact to really get rid of those ping noises. And now with the inner housings and wires lubed, we can put them back together. And then we grab a small strip of Band-Aid so we can do the Band-Aid mod. We basically put a small strip of Band-Aid on the plate to dampen that sound of the stab hitting on the plate. To make this easier on myself, I use its tweezers to attach the Band-Aid on both sides of the plate. And after doing this for all the stabilizers, we're pretty much done with them. All we need to do is put them back and put the switches on and the keycaps, and we're good to go. After the stabs, we go on to the switches. Now like in my previous video, I start off with taking apart about 10 switches and then organizing them into bowls. Then I lube the bottom housing with a light amount of lube, just like this. And then I move on to the springs. This time, I wanted to try something different, a technique I've never used before, bag lubing. And you know what? I think until I get my hands on some Krytox 105, I'll stick to bow lubing. Anyway, I then go on to place the springs back on the bottom housing and proceed to lube the switches themselves. I've talked about this process more in depth in my previous video, so go check that out. But basically, I just base my technique off of Teotypes' way of brushing his switches. So after a couple hours and putting all 61 switches back together, I take a really long break.
The next morning.
Anyways, next up is the PCB. So we're going to be taking some O-rings for this part and stick the PCB screws through 2 of them, just like so. And then we're going to attach them on both sides of the PCB, where we're going to be screwing them into the case. We do this because the O-rings will dampen the sound and make the board feel a little less stiff. By the way, the PCB came with the standoffs detached, and we're going to leave it like that. This is because it was the plate on standoff contact that made so much metallic noise. So instead, we're just going to be putting some foam in between the PCB and the plate for support. And then put the switches in to hold the plate in place like this. And finally, with the switches in, all we need are the keycaps. Let me just make sure I don't mess this up like last time. Okay, all set. Let me work a little magic. And boom! The keycaps are on. With this last step accomplished, we finished the build. Now let's see how this bad boy sounds, shall we? And there you go. I hope you enjoyed the video or learned something new. Leave a like and subscribe for more content like this. I have a couple boards in hand like the KBD67 light and the YMDK wings that I'll be making videos on in the upcoming month. Peace!